Hi, this is Lee Hendricks. Welcome to my channel, which is generally about gold prospecting. But today I have a special opportunity to visit with a friend and see his very nice collection of Native American finds. And he wanted to talk to me about them for a minute, and I thought you would find that interesting as well. So, last time I think you saw these was in a video where we were dredging, trying to find them. We didn't find any that day, I don't believe, but certainly had a good time, and we're going to try that again today. But last time you saw his finds, I believe this was complete, but he had started on this one, and he was just showing me what he found this year. Just since April, he's found these points here.
So these were found since April of this year. And this is a Kirk, which is a very old point. And these two are Yadkin eared points. And the difference in age between this point and these two are thousands of years. So I'm finding artifacts of many different periods in my creek finds.
And one thing we were just discussing is that some of the older points seem to be more detailed and taken more time with making than the newer points.
Yeah, this would have been a LaCroix point, a bifurcated point, and this was in this area is known as a Rowan point or a big sandy point. And both of these are about the same age, and they're very old, about the same age as this Kirk right here. Very old. Spear points. They would have been spear points, or half they did use it as knives.
We were just talking about this piece of rock, and you said it was stereotype? Steatite.
And it was been a stone that before they started using clay, they would make pots and cups out of this soft stone called steatite, which was carvable. That's the inside. This was the outside. But this was once they started making clay vessels, steatite sort of went by the wayside, except they did make ornamental things like pipes with steatite after they started working with clay. But that's a nutting stone there. Well, they say they put nuts, hickory nuts, walnuts in the indentations, and they would stay there, and then they'd take a rock and crack them open. That's probably true, but also they could have used this type of stone to put some type of tinder in there, and then with friction and a piece of wood, spin it, and maybe help start fires. Because the tinder would be in a small area, restricted in a small area, and they could the friction a fire starting
tool. Yeah, interesting.
And here's an interesting clay piece I found just recently, and it's so symmetrical. When I first spotted it, it was like this, and I thought it was a turtle shell. But then I pretty quickly realized it was clay, and it looks very much like it was made this way, or it could have been a bigger pot that was broken and repurposed to this shape, where they could have been used as a spoon or a ladle.
Yeah, that's incredible. Especially incredible that you recognized it for what it is, because a lot of people would have just walked right over that.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I saw it this way, I flipped it over thinking, well, it's a turtle shell. And then I immediately realized, no, that's not a turtle shell. So
now, do you know how they made that kind of?
Yeah, they would take clay, raw clay, wild clay, and they would temper the clay with some type of sand or crushed quartz or shell in the clay, and then through trial and error, they learned how to fire it. But they didn't have a wheel. They would have taken the clay and rolled it into coils, and by using coils, they could build up a cylinder, and then they would take a smooth stone and smooth the inside of the cylinder and the outside, and then decorate it on the outside. But that's how they made clay vessels without a wheel.
So they would fire this with just coals from a campfire.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They were smart. They learned how to weather. They probably started off with a smoldering fire, then after they put the vessel in, and then gradually increased the heat, got it to the point where they knew it was enough, and then probably let it gradually die down, and they had a fired piece.
And that was something you pointed out that I would not have.
Well, it's possibly a expedient tool. All of this stone came to the from the Uwharrie Mountain region. This is all rhyolite, so that's 35 miles south of here. And so to conserve their good stone with the rhyolite for tools and points and areas that had to be well made, they tried to use stone that they found in the areas they were living in. And this is quartz. This is yellow quartz, where they probably knocked off a flake. And if you look closely, you can see where they did some edge work on this flake of quartz. And probably this was an expedient tool of some type in food processing, is my guess.
So cousin Mike's been sifting through some of these larger pieces of rock, but it's just quartz so far. Down on clay, found a Budweiser can from probably the 70s or 80s. These bigger rocks were on the bottom, and there's clay way down in there, about as far as my shoulder will go down in there. And it's just pockets. It's not smooth clay, it's got little pockets all over in it. But we didn't do too bad. At least we found some chips this time.
Yeah.
We have to both get home a little early today, so we only did punch 2 holes with that caisson right there. I don't think I showed you how that works, but it was in an earlier video. If you want to look way back and find Dredging for Artifacts, you'll see that video that shows that a little better. But big hole here, big hole there, just chips so far. So we'll try it again sometime. I went ahead and panned out what was in the sluice box, not expecting to see much, but then I started seeing lead. And I don't know, is that a fish bone? That's what it looks like to me. Didn't realize they were that heavy, but it's either that or something plastic. But there's gold, very visible. Let me tap this up. I don't have my tripod. It's fun. Actually, quite a few in there. And I wasn't really running, there's the lead. I wasn't really running to catch gold. I was pumping sand about as quick as you can pump it through there, so it wasn't allowing the gold to settle down in there. It was probably just sliding over the top surface, but did catch a little bit. But we knew there was gold here already. And Mike showed me a place it would be worthwhile to dredge. It's a sandstone bottom, and you can get to it without using that caisson. I may have to come back here.